What's up, rock stars? Ben Lai here, Rockstar Fitness. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the RSF Strength and Conditioning Facility. Now, we're about 3 months into ISO and everyone here probably decided, you know what? During ISO, I'm gonna get fit. I'm gonna start a new hobby, and that new hobby was running. Awesome, hats off to you. I mean, basically you won't ever hear me say don't get fit and don't do too much exercise. You know, you're probably 12 weeks into running now and you're starting to find that, you know, the front of your leg is starting to get a little bit sore. You're starting to get a little bit of shin splints. Now, you know, you're starting to find, oh no, it's really debilitating. It's starting to stop me from what I love most, which is, you know, my 4 to 10K runs every single day. I know, it's awful. Don't you worry though, I've got some great tips and some great mobility and flexibility work to help you basically prepare yourself for your runs in the morning or in the night before you go running, and also to alleviate some of that pain that you might be feeling. So stick around. Today we're going to look at some flexibility and mobility work to help fix up some of those shin splints. Let's do this. So what are shin splints? I'm glad you asked. Basically, shin splints is the common term given to medial tibial stress syndrome. I know, it's a big word, don't worry about it, just call them shin splints. Basically, it's a result of the overuse of the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, and the bone tissue that surround the tibia, your front shin bone. Basically, overuse being, you know, a lot of plantar flexion work. So a lot of pointing of the toes, a lot of bouncing off your toes and off your heels. Now, if you're not accustomed to the level of exercise that you're currently doing, you kind of went from 0 to 100 and said, you know, tomorrow I'm going to run 7Ks and I'm going to run 7Ks every single day, then you're going to find that you're going to get a lot of inflammation in those muscles, a lot of inflammation in those tendons, and that's what's going to start to give you that pain. And you're going to mistake that for shin pain. You're going to, oh, it's the bone that's really hurting. When in actual fact, it's the muscles that surround that area. Now, a couple of the big causes towards shin splints are overuse. So obviously that's 0 to 100, you know, going too much too soon. So in which case you might need to take a little bit more of a rest day or tailor back a little bit. Another contributing factor is flat feet. So if you have fallen arches in your feet, you know, it causes a lot of pronation in the front ankle. And what that's going to cause is a lot of improper technique. And what that's going to cause, again, is that inflammation. So you might need to speak to your podiatrist or to your physiotherapist about either some orthotics in your shoes or about some strengthening exercises for the arches of your feet and for the calf muscle groups. Another one is poor footwear. So if you are running in shoes that don't have adequate support or don't have adequate sponging or you know, cushioning between your foot and the ground, then you might need to speak to a shoe specialist about getting some better footwear. And the fourth thing is, you know, running technique. Basically, you know, you might need to speak to your exercise specialist or your training coach about fixing up your running or skipping technique just to make you more efficient at running or more efficient at skipping, so you're not so heavy on your feet and that your technique is straight down the line, so that way you're not causing any unwanted inflammation. So what we're going to look at, we're not really looking at the strengthening work today. We're looking at how to prepare yourself before you do your exercise through stretching and mobility work, and also some great ways to alleviate pain and speed up recovery once you've finished your run. Really quite simple. We're looking at fascia basically. Awesome segue, Ben. Basically, what is fascia? Fascia is basically the connective tissue that sits below or beneath the skin that encases, you know, your muscle groups, your blood vessels, your organs. It's really, really, really important. It has a whole heap of sensory nerves that wrap around the inside of it. So it basically prevents friction between the muscles as they move or contract. If you start to overuse a muscle group or overwork yourself, what happens is that fascia starts to become rigid and it doesn't have as much friction. So what happens is it starts to prevent blood flow, and then you end up with kind of sensory pain in those areas. So it's super important, and fascia is everywhere, right throughout your body. The first thing that we're going to look at though is relieving some of the stress that happens through your calves. If you have a tight calf, when you're running, it's going to keep your toes in a pointed position. That plantar flexion is only going to put more and more stress on the front of your shins. So this is a good thing to do prior to your running. What I'm going to use today is a foam roller. You should all have one of these, pretty simple. You can probably kick them up from Kmart for like 20 bucks. They're pretty cheap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to position the roller just underneath the teardrop of my calf muscle group. So I'm just going to place it just there. All right. Now, depending on how sore or sensitive that area is, you might find this is enough. And you might just roll up and down slowly in that area, turning your foot from left to right, going on the inside and outside. What I like to do is I like to apply a little bit more weight. So I'll put my other leg over the top and I'll lift my hip up. Once I'm in the air, I'm going to roll very slowly. It's not about rushing through the area, and very slowly back. Then I'm gonna roll my body onto the inside of the calf. I'm gonna go very slowly. Oh, it's a bit painful. And then I'm gonna roll back very slowly. Now, if you find an area that's quite painful, just hold it there. Catch your breath, breathe slowly, rock left to right across the grains of the muscle. Once the pain starts to dissipate, roll it through again, up and down. You want to spend, anywhere from 5 to 8, 10 minutes on each leg, preparing the calf muscle group before you run, or at night if you're just sitting in front of the TV, you can just do this. It's easy, just in front of the coffee table. Simple stuff. All right, so the next area that we're looking at is the muscle groups down the front of the shin. This is one of my personal favorite movements. I really like this one. I find that I get a lot of relief from doing this particular movement. It's also a little bit painful if you're quite sensitive. So take a breath if you need to, rest when you need to, and then jump back on until you get to 5 to 10 minutes per leg. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place both shins on top of the roller. Basically gonna kneel on top of the roller. Now, if I'm just sitting on my tibia or just using my shin bone, I'm gonna get no relief. What I wanna do is I wanna angle my body until I can get into the muscle that sits on the side of the shin bone, just down here between the calf and the shin bone. So I'm gonna apply pressure down the side, I'm gonna roll to the side, and all I'm gonna do is very slowly roll down that area to the base of the knee, and then come back up to about halfway down the leg. Now you'll feel it straight away. All we're trying to do is flatten out the fascia, that way it's not as rigid, that way we can improve blood flow, and then you get less inflammation is what we're looking for. You want to do it on the other side as well. Tilt the leg, roll up and down the shin, just to the side, very slowly. Like I said, you want to do this for about 5 minutes each leg, and you can do this prior to your run or afterwards as a form of recovery. Again, one of my personal favorites, and the roller, so cheap and such a great massage tool for all your self-maintenance. Simple. All right, guys, so now we're into my third and final tip to help prepare you before you run and help to recover a little bit quicker following your runs. Now, you can do these each night. I love this type of movement. I think it feels really nice. All you're gonna need is a nice rubber ball. Basically, a hard lacrosse ball will do it. You can buy these massage balls from Aldi or Kmart. And if you don't have any of these, then you could use, a golf ball or a baseball or a cricket ball. All we're looking at doing is releasing the fascia on the base of my foot, the arches of my foot that tend to be getting most of the use. It's the first point of impact, and it's the one with the largest contraction as I keep pressing off my toes. I'm gonna place the ball on the ground, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the middle of my foot on top of the ball. Now, keeping myself supported, might need an aid. I'm gonna apply pressure down the middle of the foot, and the first thing I'll do is I'm gonna roll my toes or foot forwards until I get to my heel. And you'll feel like, oh wow, that's quite painful. There's a lot of cracking that's going on. That's fine. Take a deep breath in and roll it back. Now I'm gonna go back down to the middle of my foot and I'll take it to the toes, to the ball of my foot. Easy. Then I take a deep breath in, roll it back again. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna massage the base of my foot, forwards and back. And you might find if you haven't ever done this area, you'll realize how sensitive this area is. You want to increase the blood flow at the bottom of your foot and try and relieve some of that pain. Once you get to an area that again is quite hard or painful or sore, apply pressure and just hold it there. Breathe slow until that pain starts to dissipate by about 50%, and then rock forwards again. Forwards and back really slowly. I want to spend about 5 to 10 minutes. You don't have to do this standing. You can do this seated if you like, while you're sitting at your desk, while you're sitting on the couch watching TV. At the office, you might do it as long as your feet don't smell and you're not going to irritate any of your other co-workers. I think this is a really good thing to do to relieve stress as well. And it just frees up a lot of the muscle groups in your foot. It's an awesome way to fix that foot up before you start running. Once you finish, you might feel like your foot's a little bit tingly. That's fine. That sensation is just that added blood flow going into the leg and that release of that fascia. It's stopping it being as rigid, which we talked about earlier. A really great tool to use, which we'll be coming back to a lot for a lot of the other videos in future. Well, there you have it, rock stars. Those are my main tips to get you back out pounding that pavement and get you running without any pain. It'll also help you recover quicker, so you can do them before you go running or after, just as a little bit of relaxation. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. New videos every single week. We've got some great new content coming this year, and I hope to see you again soon. Enjoy your day.